Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Iva Glazarová, and today I will be talking about surviving in the world of holes with the help of vulnerability management. So, firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Iva, as I said, and during the presentation, I will refer to us and we because we put this presentation together. I was working with it with my team from MSD. I'm a fresh graduate and I joined the MSD company. I work in the global infrastructure operations in Unix Linux team. You can see them on the picture on the right bottom corner, and above it's a picture of myself. And so something short about the company. As a whole, we have 650 people in the Prague IT hub. We also have hubs in US and Singapore. So besides the global work environment, which is at place, you can also find fields like machine learning, data science, big data, software engineering, and there are investments to cyber security going on and much more. But today we are here to listen something about vulnerability management. So the purpose of this presentation is to dive into vulnerability management, and also I would like to mention it's not a very deep technical knowledge presentation. It's more about like getting to know the corporate structure and the global challenges in a global company. I also included some pictures because we have some kids in the audience. So we can, why did we choose the picture at the beginning? So the hole is a vulnerability which can be used by a mouse, a hacker, and cause some serious problems, right? So the vulnerability is a software, hardware, or procedural weakness that may provide an attacker, the mouse, open door he or she can use to enter a computer or network and have unauthorized access to resources within specific environment. But luckily we have vulnerability management, which in this case is the trap, or actually something which can cover the hole in the wall and prevent us from this. So what's our problem statement? It's a lot of mice, a lot of vulnerabilities, right? So for example, in year 2017, there were 453 vulnerabilities. And every month, there are new vulnerabilities coming out, which you can see on the bottom graphic. So yeah, one example of the vulnerability can be Meltdown Inspector. And those are current vulnerabilities from 2017. What we can see from this slide is patching is a must. Every company has to have a patching strategy, and which is one of the corporate challenges to stay current, be up to date. Another challenge which we can name here is safety versus agile. So safety, we are locking processes, right, to stay safe. But on the other hand, for the agile environment, we need to stay flexible. So if with this safety and agile, we have to find a balance to maintain both of those. We can distinguish proactive and reactive approach. The proactive can be network segmentation, firewall, whitelisting. I'll be talking about this later. And also vulnerability management. Reactive can be patching. Also, will be mentioned in the next slide. So to mention what vulnerability management actually is, it's a proactive process surrounding vulnerability scanning, focused on preventing information security breaches by minimizing the number and detection time of vulnerabilities present on assets. Its the main goals of vulnerability management are the identification of vulnerabilities and evaluation of the associated risk. And this leads to remediation of vulnerabilities and removal of risk, or to accept transparent risk acceptance. So I mentioned there are many vulnerabilities, right? So what do we do with them? How do we identify? So now it's time to mention CVE, meaning common vulnerabilities and exposures. And CVE is a program launched in 1999 by MITRE, which is a nonprofit organization that operates research and development centers sponsored by the US federal government to identify and catalog vulnerabilities into a free dictionary, let's say, so for organizations to improve their security. And the dictionary's main purpose is to standardize the way vulnerabilities are identified. So we got IDs, and those IDs allow security administrators to access technical information about a specific threat. And for example, you can see the severity ratings as well. Most of the vulnerabilities, so you can see low, medium, high, and critical. For Meltdown Inspector, they are both high in a scope from 7 to 8. And also, this is the most vulnerabilities from 2017. I mentioned we had 453 vulnerabilities in 2017 in the Unix kernel. And out of those, 226 were ranked as high. So, and as well the Meltdown Inspector. The CVE listing contains the standard and identifier number with status indicator, a brief description, and reference to related vulnerability reports and advisories. What it does not include is risk, impact, fix, or detailed technical information. Luckily, this is included in the US National Vulnerability Database, the second abbreviation I have on the slide, NVD. So we can also see example. I used Meltdown again, so you can see CVE 2017-5754 would be the CVE number for Meltdown. As an example on this slide is Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7 Z-string kernel, and the patch for this would be the number I have next to the trap, right? So for each vulnerability, we have some advisory and a patch which is a piece of software code which will be inserted into existing program in the system. So in this case, it would be the RHSA 2018-0007. Okay. So on this slide, I would like to mention as well the example of vulnerability management process, which could be scanning. It's really important in a corporate environment to have a reliable vulnerability scan management, because we want to know about all the vulnerabilities, but also we should be aware of false positive, because if we have reported there's a vulnerability, but there is actually not, so we have to verify if the vulnerability is actually for our environment or not. Then the next step would be prioritizing and assessing. Reporting, that's very important in corporate environment, and after that, fixing and verifying. And yeah, we are done. So now, after talking about patching, we can move to proactive approach examples. You have many options to reduce the attack surface, such as unifying the environment landscape and customizing the server build. So this you can do by not starting services you are not using, apply the privilege account management and multi-factor authentication, and not using default ports. Now, how you can prepare for day zero vulnerability? Besides whitelisting and firewall, you should close the ports you're not using and apply segmentation. So divide production environment from test and development by network and hardware. And yeah, do not connect devices you don't have any information for. There is also an intrusion detection system available, which can detect potential intruders. And lastly, on this slide, I would like to mention that patching can be also considered as a proactive approach, right? Because, or in the sense of staying current with the patches and products, which I mentioned on the previous slide. So now we can move to the corporate global challenges. To accomplish the proactive and reactive approaches, there are certain challenges in a corporate. So people might not be aware. If you're working in a startup, it might be a little bit different. So how to survive in the world of holes in a global corporate, point of view. We have systems which are supporting global applications running 24/7. So this means for us no downtime to fix things. We are also cooperating with vendors who need our data. So we are facing internet, and this is, of course, opportunity to attack. Our environment is very diverse and complex, meaning we have different versions of OS, legacy systems, obsolete hardware, and so there can arise issues like the vendor is not longer offering support for our hardware, and so on. Our environment is also very complex, so there are servers, databases, and application dependencies, and after that, we get to collect a lot of approvals. Furthermore, in our company is a pharma company, so we have highly regulated environment, which is also very challenging in this point of view. So we're coming to our last slide. So the message which you should take from this is don't sit and wait, be proactive. Because proactive approach gives us more time for innovation and added value thing. And yeah, no patching means disaster waiting. So we also put a quote that company without patching strategy is like a truck company without oil change plan. And yeah, we want our penguins to stay safe. And yeah, if you're not scared enough, you can watch this video on YouTube. How a penguin can get off the hole, but yeah. So at the end of this presentation, we applied our patches so our hacker cannot attack us, and we survived in the world of holes. With this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and for questions, actually, if we can do that, I would like to ask you if you have any questions to go here after the presentation and meet our team. And yeah, we can do it now. Like, yeah, can we do it like a group discussion, maybe? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so if you want to join us downstairs or just, that's it from my side. So, thank you very much.